Set boundaries in your relationships. They are your personal limits beyond which you don't allow anyone to push you. If you don't have boundaries in place, people will ride a roughshod over you. They will expect access to you 24/7. If you do not do what they ask you to, they will make you feel guilty. In fact, they will make you feel responsible for their happiness. Without boundaries, people will deplete you of your energy and your time. When you made it clear you don't want to do something, and the other person keeps on insisting, he is intruding your boundary. When you have expressed that you don't have time for phone calls, and the other keeps on pinching you, she is transgressing her limits. You have the right to decide how to use your time. You have the right to decide the values by which you will live. One husband and wife have been married 20 years. Both of them are working and earning. Yet for the slightest of expenses, the wife needs the husband's permission. Why is that so? Because he never gave her the freedom of having her own bank account. The proper way would have been, there's a common account for common expenses, individual accounts for individual expenses. You may say, Swamiji, when we set boundaries, are we not becoming selfish? Of course not. You can only give to others when you have for yourself, and for that you have the right to care for yourself. One man attended a course on how to win friends and influence people. The teacher asked the students to implement the principles and come back and share their experiences. This man returned and he shared that he went out with someone for coffee and was so gentle and so polite. The other man loved him. Everybody applauded. But then he added, henceforth, I will always hate him. People said, why? Because he wasted my time. He forced me to listen to things that I did not want to. This was an unsustainable relationship. He was giving to the extent that he was losing himself. Any relationship on the paradigm lose-win is not a sustainable one. For it to be long-term, it must be a win and a win. So look, what are healthy relationships? When the teacher on the first day of the class informs the student, this is the code of conduct I expect you all to conform to. The teacher is clarifying his comfort zone and what he expects from the students, which is his right. When a new mother expresses to her husband that he also needs to take care of the newborn baby so that she has some time for herself, she is clarifying that she has her boundaries on self-nurturing. When parents tell their child, please knock before you enter our bedroom, they are clarifying their right for privacy. When the child tells the parents, please ask me before looking into my personal diary, he is expressing his need for confidentiality. What are unhealthy relationships? When the husband tells the wife, You are so beautiful. When you speak to other men, I feel jealous. So stay away from the company of men. Or when the wife tells the husband, if you return home after 7 p.m., I get stressed, so you have to come back in time. Or when a mother tells her 25-year-old son, when you engage in bhakti, I become nervous that you may become a Baba, so I will not give you permission to engage in bhakti. Now, doesn't a 25-year-old have the right to decide how to use his or her time? Or when the parents tell their child, we know you have aspirations for a great career and we know you wish to go and work abroad for a little while, but we want you to stay back and take care of us even though it cripples your own life. So, for having healthy relationships, we need to have boundaries. And how to establish them? The first point here is communication. Express your needs to the other person. Don't think they are antaryami, all-knowing. They will know your mind without your expressing it. The second, don't hesitate to say no when required. Let's see what the Golden Rules book has to say about this. We all have fixed resources of time, energy, and effort. How we utilize them determines our efficacy in achieving our goals. When we prioritize our list of to-dos, we put the most important and urgent tasks up top, while things requiring least attention go to the bottom. In this manner, we say yes to some and no to others. Apply the same principle in your relationships. While you should be helpful and available to do the needful for others, you must learn to say no to demands that are unimportant or wasteful. After all, you also have a responsibility towards your own goals. For that, you must avoid people who drain your energy or overtake your space. Warren Buffett put it nicely. The difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything. One father and mother once came to me and said, Swamiji, our child has a problem. I said, how old is he? They said, 25 years. I said, he is a man then. Why has he not come? Swamiji, he did not want to come. Why? I said, because he doesn't feel he has a problem. My ears stood up. I said, can you describe the problem? They said, Swamiji, somewhere in high school, he got addicted to drugs, fell into the wrong company, and that affected his grades. Nevertheless, we were good parents. We made everything available to him, gave him all the opportunities, and he did not feel any lack. His insincerity continued when he was in college. And one day, he said, I will no longer attend classes. But why, we said? He said he doesn't like doing it and he dropped out of college. Since then, it has been 7 years and he refuses to study or work. I said, he is very right. He doesn't have a problem. Now their ears stood up. How come, Swamiji? I said, he is being irresponsible, he is being wasteful, but all his needs are being taken care of. What is his problem? The problem is yours. You are being responsible, helpful, service-oriented, and yet you are happy. And the reason for this scenario is you did not draw proper boundaries. You kept on saying yes to every demand of his. If you had stood your ground and said, no, we will not finance these expenses, we will not allow such behaviors, the situation would not have reached this point. So, the second point in setting boundaries is learn to say no. And the third point, make people aware of consequences when they transgress limits. It is said, consequences shape actions. When people feel they can get away with anything, there is no impetus for a change. Intelligent teachers always construct consequences. The legendary J.R.D. Tata, an anecdote is told about him. At the Tata plant, the employees began complaining about the extremely obnoxious smell in the employees' restrooms. He asked the management to correct that. The manager said it will take us 15 days to get things in shape. J.R.D. Tata said, I need it to be done in 24 hours. And how? He instructed his staff to switch the boards between employee restroom and management restroom. Within 24 hours, things got fixed. He made the management know it is their duty to take care of the well-being and comfort of the employees. If it is not done, there will be consequences. Those consequences shaped the actions. And a similar anecdote is told about the equally legendary Field Marshal of India, Sam Manekshaw. He went to a campground and saw a rifleman repeatedly saluting a lieutenant. What is going on here? He inquired. The lieutenant said, when I was passing by, he forgot to salute me. Field Marshal Manekshaw said, you've given him a very good punishment. But remember the etiquette. Whenever anyone salutes an officer, the officer is obliged to salute back in return. For the next 2 hours, everyone witnessed the spectacle of the rifleman and the lieutenant saluting to each other. Field Marshal Manekshaw made it very clear the officer also had a responsibility to think about the comfort of his people. When he was giving them a punishment beyond their capacity to tolerate, he would also have to bear with the consequences. So boundaries in the world will free up your time. But when it comes to God, drop all boundaries. Give him the right to do whatever he wants. Because the people in the world are selfish. They could exploit and take advantage of you. In the case of God, he is infinitely compassionate and extremely tender of heart. Make him sarvadhikar sampann. My Lord, whatever you feel is appropriate for me, please go ahead and do it. I bestow you all rights upon my life.